institution. It was an institution that built the community of America. Most of the better communities that have safety, good children, good schools are typically centered around marriage. However, marriage has not progressed to the point where men could be safe legally, and a lot of men have experienced tremendous damage, collateral damage as a result, and it has led to broken families, a lot of broken hearts, simply because the laws are not positioned to benefit both people in a divorce. Therefore, you have no fault divorce. You have opportunities for women to use the courts against men. And as a result, men have seen 1, 2, and 3 generations of men getting harmed, their grandfathers, their fathers, their uncles, their brothers getting harmed by this. So Generation Z men are not positioning themselves for a positive marriage. So at this particular point, if someone asked me, would I recommend marriage for them, and they were in a certain position in life, they weren't established, I would say no. There's no benefit for the person to get married today.
Got it. Your response, Andrew?
Yeah, I didn't hear any anti-marriage arguments. I heard anti-divorce arguments. So I'm with you on divorce, 100%.
Stream over.
And
But you agree.
But it's a good thing that the topic isn't on divorce, it's on marriage. And it seems like you agree with my proposition then. And the proposition is that marriage, quote, is a great institution.
Yep.
And that right now your concern is that men can't be safe in marriage, but that's not actually what you're saying. You're not saying men can't be safe in marriage. They can. You're saying that they may not be safe in divorce. So I have a counter proposition for you. My counter proposition is, what if it's the case that you can use religious marriage institutions without the state? And then we add the ecclesiastical structure of the marriage. That's what always kept them together anyway, before the state was ever involved. So what if instead we use the ecclesiastical church, the structure of the old churches, that would be Catholicism and Orthodoxy, where you see the lowest divorce rates, because the community puts pressure on the women to act right. That's what they do. Right now, the state applies no pressure on women to act right, right? You can just go and file whatever you want, get a divorce, and go be banging the neighbor by the next night. We totally agree on that. But to say that we should abandon marriage is silly. It seems like you're completely pro-marriage. You're just anti-divorce. So why wouldn't you just throw your weight behind institutions where the divorce rate is the least, and you have an ecclesiastical structure which can be appealed to assist with that? That's what makes no sense to me.
My response to that is, if we're fifths, we beat all drunk. All right. So that's a scenario that just isn't present.
Can you explain the analogy for me?
Well, if we use if, it's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when. If we say if we have a situation where this is present, then this would work. Well, that makes sense. If we had that,
we do have it right now.
Well, it doesn't necessarily work because, and I'm going to tell you why, because a woman can go to a divorce attorney and they can simply just say, hey, listen, it was a off the cuff, off the state divorce, but you got married within a certain state, or she filed in a certain state, so therefore the divorce goes on.
No,
absolutely,
okay.
yes.
Well,
listen, I've been to with the divorce attorneys, and what they'll tell you is, hey, listen, you can get married in the ritual, you can get married in the orthodoxy, you can get married off record, but if she files and that woman is hell bent on saying, we got married, I don't care if it was a ceremony where we walked on coals with our feet bare, that's considered a marriage. You also have common law. You have a lot of other ways for that woman to establish marriage.
How does your way eliminate common law?
I don't have any way to eliminate common law.
So
what
then,
I have is a way for men to avoid
well, then the
being
argument's
used
silly.
no, the argument's not silly. So here's what you have. You have a if proposition, which doesn't exist for most men. Most men aren't religious. Most men aren't looking to be under a religious orthodoxy. So it doesn't apply. So you're taking a moral standard or a religious standard to apply to people who aren't under that veil.
So let's start with a couple of things you said which are fundamentally untrue. Most men are religious, in fact, including in this country. Most of them, not some of them.
But they're not religious.
Hang on. I didn't interrupt.
I understand, but let me just take that point. Most aren't under your religion.
Okay.
We can agree with that.
So here's the thing, though. But Catholicism and Orthodoxy is growing rapidly. And if it's the case that the ecclesiastical structure is already there, which it is, right? If you're going to cohabitate with a woman, the thing that you're offering right now is common law marriage anyway, if there's cohabitation at all. You're not protecting anybody from that. at least under my model, it gives an ecclesiastical structure that's designed to prevent divorce by applying community pressure. That was the way it was always done. Apply the application of community pressure within the confines of the woman's social circle. Right now, do you agree with me, for instance, that many divorces happen because women like to yap? So you get a freshly divorced woman, and she's free. You go, girl. Girl power. And she starts talking to her little friends, and she starts telling them how liberating it is and how great it is and this and that. And this is why when women have divorced friends, their likelihood of divorce actually rapidly increases. It's for this reason.
Divorce is contagious.
So if it's the case that this social contagion is eliminated because now we have an ecclesiastical structure, an ecclesiastical authority, which won't grant it because you get ostracized from that social group through excommunication, for instance, or not being able to participate anymore with that community, that's an application of a serious and significant social pressure, which can do the very thing you want. Bring back that great institution, absent the state, and it avoids this whole problem of common law marriage. Because if it's the case that you can be common law married anyway, inside of a state, and they can get grounds for divorce on that anyway, then we actually need to have some social pressures to prevent them from doing that. So it sounds like we agree marriage is awesome for men. Divorce is terrible for them. So it seems like we should be attacking the divorce structure here, and it doesn't seem like you actually have anything to do that other than just avoid the thing that's great for you because this other bad side effect could happen.
Sure, that's
so
like
why don't
smoking
we,
cigarettes.
So why don't we attack the bad side effect when we have the mechanism to do it? It's not if, we can do it now.
Okay,
right
so
this
like
second.
smoking cigarettes is the same analogy you're saying. Okay, here, cigarettes in this situation, we obviously know it has negative side effects, so you would avoid it. Now, here's the issue that I have with it. It sounds great on paper, but we can't travel to the land of make-believe. It sounds great. The majority of people probably wouldn't do it. And if you ask a guy, which this is an important part, they're not even prepared to even talk about that. They don't even know what divorce laws are. So you're asking them to travel to the land of make-believe under a marriage system that small percentage of people use. No one uses it today. You might have said they used it to the past. Today, that doesn't exist. So we can't travel to the land of make-believe to make marriage work for you. It might work in your marriage, but it doesn't work for the greater structure.
Your argument here contradicts itself because, on the one hand, you say men don't know enough about marriage, but my assumption is that your mission is to let men know about marriage.
Absolutely.
Okay, well then, I don't understand how it's the land of make-believe if you can let them know about this, but I can't.
Sure.
Right,
And
so
you can offer
if,
that.
So if
You
I
can offer
am,
that.
it sounds like I'm offering a real alternative to what you're offering, and here's what you're offering. Men, marriage is great. It's a great institution. It's the best for children. These are your words. In marriage, right, men seem to thrive. Their health seems to thrive. Everything seems to thrive. You're saying, well, the problem is that divorce rates are high, and they are. However, there's a few things there that you haven't covered. One, it depends on demographic, too. For instance,
Absolutely.
if you're black, it's going to be way worse than if you're white.
Correct.
Okay? Way worse. And also socioeconomics matters, right? Demographics in general matter. So you can do a lot, actually, including prenuptial agreements. You can have a prenuptial agreement with the ecclesiastical authority without the state even involved. And it seems like that would mitigate your risk to damn near nothing.
You said if about 50 times
So did
today.
you.
Now, here's what I'm telling you.
So
I'm
did
telling you
you.
when, all right? We're already in this system. You're going outside of the system to create a scenario for me to argue
What
against.
system are you going outside of?
We're talking about marriage is typically done with the state. Almost everyone does it this way.
Typically
so now
is
you're
not-
hold
is
on for a
not
second. Hold on for a
must.
second. You've
Typically
moved the
doesn't mean
goalpost.
anything.
You've moved the goalpost to a scenario of if, and you're arguing
is.
from the if. No,
Is.
hold on for a second. You're arguing from the if perspective.
It is perspective.
No, listen.
It is.
Give
it
me a
is
chance to
perspective.
listen.
All right,
give
I'll
me a
give you
chance.
Go ahead.
You're arguing from a very small percentage point. Now you're saying demographics, and we can talk about that, but you're still trying to get me to argue in your cloud of if. That's the land of make believe. Most people, by far, are married to the state. Not only that, your land of make believe still exists. The prenup with the ecclesiastics, you can write whatever you want in that prenup. It only matters in the divorce. That's the reality. So I'm still dealing in reality.
So
You're
am
in
I.
the clouds. Hold on for a second. You're in the
Okay.
clouds. So let's take the demographics.
Okay.
In your scenario, it sounds like, which would be fair, your primary concern is with white people.
No, it's with
Hold
all
on for a
people.
second. You said with black people, the demographics, the chance is higher.
Yeah.
So have you discovered the ecclesiastics approach to black people married within this?
Yes.
However, their demographics, economics, which all do affect marriage, has nothing to do in the land of the clouds or the make-believe with ecclesiastics. It's all going to boil down to in the law. And there's no church reverend that's going to go into your household to make sure there's social pressure on your wife. Do you know
yes,
any?
sir. Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Do you know any that can cover all marriages? That
Yes.
answer is no.
Yes. And by the way, when you keep
Are we in reality here?
I'm
or are we
trying.
in the clouds?
When
I mean,
you're-
we're
when
not
you're-
we're not arguing
I was
anything
just trying-
legitimate.
I was just
this
trying
is
to-
this is in the land of make believe.
Well, when I'm allowed to respond, let me
Okay,
know.
give me a second.
Go ahead.
Let me finish this point.
Go ahead.
You're imagining. Your imagination is great. John Lennon would be great. You know, you would be proud of you at this particular point.
But I'm imagining all the people.
You're imagining all the people under a situation and a structure that you brought in here, all right? But the state highly governs this, and the state highly governs divorce. I'm dealing in a reality situation where I'm trying to counsel men to give information to. The best thing you've told me is that you're willing to give men the option to do this. Are they willing to all do this option? The answer is probably not, just like they're not willing to do what I'm telling them to do. However, we're both attempting, which is a good thing. It's noble. However, your situation rarely exists. Can we talk about the reality of what exists?
Sure.
Absolutely. So let's take your moral religious crusade out of it and talk about the reality.
Yeah, let's
Are you
not.
willing to do that?
Yeah, well, here's the thing.
See, you're not willing to do that
Well,
because it's all based on your reality.
Guess what? It's a debate, and I will argue my points from my view, how I see fit. It's not for you to
But what I'm
govern.
not going to do is expect
not
to
my
be arguing
government.
from the land of make believe.
Yeah, but it's
okay.
not- you
All
don't-
right. So
okay,
anybody
yeah, my
have
turn, my turn,
Anybody
relax.
have anybody have the sound effect for the television show where the train comes through, Mr. Rogers?
Let me know when
because
you-
I want to be on.
let me know
I
when you
want to be
gas
on
out.
Earth.
Yeah, let me know
All
when
right.
you gas
Let's
out.
let Andrew respond.
Yeah, so the thing is it's funny that you bring up Imagine All the People with John Lennon, which is an anti-religious song. And hilariously enough, was designed to assist with female empowerment. Isn't that hilarious? But the thing here is you keep on saying that what I'm offering is make-believe, but it's not. It's been governing the Orthodox and Catholic Church for 2,000 years, including in this country. Now, here, let me give you an example, for instance. The Amish, right? Do you know what the divorce rate is among them? It's almost non-existent, yet they're still governed by the same laws of the land that you're speaking to. So sounds like if I give a counter, if I say, look, I can give you a way, a methodology, in which you can utilize the religious ecclesiastical institution which has existed for 2,000 years and has right now the lowest divorce rates, right this second as we speak, not in make-believe land, not hundreds of years in the future, right this second, as opposed to the system you have of common law divorce, which is sky high and you can't do anything about it. That's what is true. So pointing out what is true is right now you can have a prenup. That is true. What is true is prenups are usually held up in court. That is true. What is true is that you can have a marriage outside of a state because it's a religious institution anyway. You never have to have a license with the state. It's never been necessary. And if you do, the only way that that can be done is if it's sacramental. And if it's sacramental, it's governed now by the church. That's going to be the community the women are a part of. And so the thing is like, that sounds like a real viable solution. What's yours? More fucking degeneracy? Go out and play the field, hump a lot of chicks? How's that going to help anybody do anything? That's been the progressive mantra for 100 years. Isn't it wonderful? Your turn.
All right, we're returning back to Earth. Now, first things first, when it comes to this, back in reality, there's no God in marriage. So, Mr. Sky Daddy, God, religion, that's all great, but there's no God in marriage. At this particular point, when you go through a marriage, if one person decides to not obey the Holy Bible or whatever you're thumping, you have no basis to keep that marriage together. If she decides to leave the church and decides not to listen or excommunicate herself, she's now under the state.
Agree.
Now, when you're getting divorced, which I'm assuming you've been divorced,
Well, I mean, that's a hell of an assumption to make.
have you been divorced?
Well, I mean,
have you been married?
Can you tell me, if you can tell me how that has any merit?
Give me
to
a
the
second,
debate?
because if you've been through one, you would know that there's no God in the divorce court, in the
Oh, I
family
see.
court. There's no God in there. No one asked you.
There is the state in there.
There is the state. So that's what we're arguing from.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
when you get married. So you're telling me if, and I'm telling you, well, this is what's going to happen. Even if you took Sky Daddy into court with you, they would say you pray to the judge.
How-
The judge is the authority in the court. So the God argument is a nice, interesting argument. And I probably am not going to stay on the conversation very long because that's your God. That's your Sky Daddy. That's
that?
your religion. I have a different religion. So who
What does that
gives
do
you
with
the
anything?
listen? Who gives you the authority to change the understanding, the conversation to your religion? That's your religion.
I'm not changing the conversation.
Okay,
anything.
so it only
We're
works
talking
if
about,
it only works if you believe in your Sky Daddy.
we're t-
That's the only way it works, and that's the
We're-
only way you're going to advise
well,
men.
we're talking about mitigating risk.
No. We're talking about can men
Mm-hmm.
get into a marriage today only under your Sky Daddy? That's what we're assuming.
Okay.
Now, can they do it otherwise?
Yeah, you can have secular marriage.
Okay, go ahead and explain.
Okay, yeah,
Make it work.
I just did.
Make it work.
The argument that you have is that marriage is great. It's a great institution.
We already covered this.
Well, what made it great?
We already covered
What
this.
made it great?
Can we go into why it would make it work for your secular?
Y-
That's the question
yeah,
I ask you.
but-
You're asking me questions back. Go ahead and
Yeah,
go ahead and
okay.
answer the
So-
question.
So, if you're talking about secular marriage, there's never been any point to it.
I'm sorry.
There's never been any point to secular marriage ever. Never. What would ever be the point of secular marriage? It's always been a religious institution. That's what made it great. Now, when you say it's a great institution, what made it great for secularists, other than the fact that Sky Daddy and God had all these enforcement arms and those things had to be enforced socially? Like, for instance, men weren't allowed to run away. And women, right, they had to show cause for these divorces. And they had to be good causes. They had to show it for things like infidelity, right? It was all biblically governed. It was all lawfully governed by this Sky Daddy guy you like so little. But that's what made the institution great in the first place. And what you're talking about here, you're making a point that divorce is bad. And yet, I agree, divorce is bad.
Correct.
So what we're really talking about is how do we mitigate the risk for divorce? And we have two different methods here.
Well, the conversation
The method-
is marriage good for men. That's the conversation.
But it is. We already said it's good for men. That's not even in dispute.
And now, how do we make it better since they're avoiding
well,
it?
it
Since
sounds
men or women
like,
are avoiding it.
It sounds like the thing that you think makes it bad is divorce, not marriage.
Correct.
Then we need to mitigate divorce.
We're 15 minutes in, and we are in the land of reality. You finally called up. Can you tell
I've been
me
there the whole
how
time.
we can get to the secular marriage? I mean, I've given you a
Yeah,
chance.
so-
You're dragging your
So
feet.
again, secular. There's never been any point to secular marriage ever.
Now, listen, marriage is for child creation. It would be great for child community
it's
and
not
all
just
of
for
these
that.
things. And now, listen, by the time the religious aspects got into marriage, they were chopping people's heads off and burning Bibles. So, listen, I know we want to take it back to the past and act like the past was better, but there's always a negative part of the past. If you go back and you look at the English, this has all been there. People were getting their heads chopped off. The Crusaders were doing their things across countries, and they were spreading Christianity through
So,
threats and
what does that have
violence.
to do with anything?
Now, that's what you're trying to uplift. That's what you're trying to uphold.
I don't even know what the hell you're talking about.
You wouldn't know what I'm talking
I
about.
don't.
That's where you're lacking.
I have no
so
idea.
catch up. You're sitting
What
across
does the
from me. I
Crusades
want
have
you
to do with divorce?
That was when your holy marriage
Uh-huh.
was the best marriage that you're trying to go to. Now, listen.
In the
if we're trying to drag it back-
1950s? Were we crusading
No,
in
no,
the
no,
1950s?
no, 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 no. You
What the hell are
talked
you talking about?
You talked about the institution of marriage for 2,000 years.
Yeah.
Sir, do you need me to catch you up on what you're talking
Yeah,
about?
but-
You're having
Do
trouble
you know what
keeping up with
marriage-
me.
do you know what
You're
marriage was
having
like
trouble
50 years
keeping up
ago?
with me. You said
I am.
2,000 years ago.
Truly,
and
your
I told you
intellect is
2,000
dizzying.
years ago, they were chopping people's heads off.
Which
need
has
you
what to do with
I
anything?
need you to catch up with me, sir.
Okay.
If you want to take things back to the past, you have
Uh-huh.
to accept everything as the past. You can't just cherry pick. Now,
What?
here's the thing. You're cherry picking. If you want to take things back to tradition,
Uh-huh.
take it all the way back. Why stop at the 50s? Take it back to the 1890s.
What you're saying right now is so incoherent. I actually don't even understand
Well,
it.
that's what. Listen, when you're
It's
when you're
completely
running out of bullets,
incoherent.
when you're running out of bullets,
Well, it's
the
just
last thing you do
incoherent.
is the shame. All right,
I'm not
listen,
even trying to
are
shame you.
struggling?
It's just incoherent.
I need you to catch up with me.
Okay, catch me up.
Just say you're lacking if you can't keep it up.
It's
All right,
an
now here's the
incoherent-
problem.
it's
Here's the problem.
incoherent.
Here's the problem. Here's the problem.
I don't know what to tell you.
Here's the problem you're having.
2,000 years ago, they were chopping heads off. Who gives a shit?
Listen,
what does that have
you
to do with
said
anything?
2,000 years ago. I'm coming up with yours. Your holy religious 2,000 years ago. It's been a part of
What
the
does that
institution.
have to do with this?
Exactly. Here's the problem. You're cherry picking.
Cherry picking what?
Listen.
I'm
You want-
listening.
I'm gonna slow you down. I'm gonna
Slow
slow
me
you
way
down
down.
because I see what you're doing here. I'm gonna slow you down.
Okay.
Because it's hard for you to keep up.
It is. You're
I
right.
understand.
I
I
am-
understand because you
I
haven't
am
been across. This is your
bedazzled.
toughest debate. Your audience knows this.
Oh, it's rough.
There's no God in marriage.
Okay.
in the United States.
Yeah.
Can we agree to that? When you get to divorce,
In
there's
the
no
legal
God in
marriage,
marriage.
I agree to that.
We need to agree to it because when you go into divorce court,
Yeah.
there's no God.
Yeah,
you
but
can't bring in your God
thought-
in your Bible. And at that particular point, none of your ecclesiastics marriage works.
Okay.
Period.
So the thing is, you just said, can we agree that there's no God in marriage? And then
You don't have to agree.
But hang on, calm down. And then you switched over to divorce. There's no God in divorce. But those are two different questions and proposition. Hang on, relax. The second thing is that me saying that what made marriage a great institution is this whole Sky Daddy character, and that the institution has been in place for 2,000 years, and it's
you
been.
go,
Hang
2,000
on,
years.
calm down.
2,000
And it's been a
years.
strong institution. I'm not actually sure how tying in that at the time they cut people's heads off, what that has to do with the fact that in the 1950s and 40s, you still had 95% of these marriages staying together. This is not ancient history. This is not even early American history.
Can I
Hang on. That's in your grandfather's lifetime, basically. And this, by the way, that was the case for black marriages as well. Very strong institutions. But all of those institutions were that way because they followed that whole Sky Daddy thing.
Correct.
They were like, oh, that Sky Daddy's going to smite us if we don't. And so what you do here is you're giving the classic progressive argument, which is, well, you know, guys, it is true that it's a great institution, and it is true it's the best place in the world to have children for the continuation of the species. And also, it's fantastic for men's health. It's fantastic for their mental health. It's great for them in almost every way. But that divorce thing is real bad. And I counter. You're right. That divorce thing is real bad. We have now a center of agreement. But now we're going back to the marriage in the West thing, which is that whole great institution problem. Well, if we agree that what made it good, which you just did, is, hey, that Sky Daddy guy, and then I point out that right now you can still utilize that Sky Daddy guy for an ecclesiastical marriage outside of the state. Hang on. And the only thing you could do is say, well, what about common law? But you can't govern anybody from common law. And at least in the ecclesiastical institution, you have social pressures on women to stay married. You can't offer a man anything like that. Give me a single social pressure you can offer that would actually keep these marriages together. One. What? Just one.
Can I answer something
Yeah.
you just said? This would be interesting.
I
because
can't wait.
You said
but
the
can you answer
19
that question then
No,
ask?
before.
Oh, of
the
course.
1940s.
Of course, you gotta ask me a question.
Because
before you
listen,
answer
I'm
mine.
listening. I'm listening to you. You asked the question at the end. If you would have asked it at the beginning, possibly I might have been able to address it. But let me address this point.
Okay.
You said the 1940s and 1950s with this imaginary Sky Daddy controlling marriages. That sounds like enforcement. Because by the time the
Doesn't it?
1970s came around, the very first chance women got to file a no-fault divorce without need for evidence, without need to have a private investigator to prove an affair.
Was no fault the 70s?
Yes, it was the 70s, started by Ronald Reagan.
Yeah.
I'll educate
But-
you.
but hang
came,
on.
came along. Hold on for a second. No.
Yeah.
I got the
Go
floor
ahead.
here. I got the floor.
I got the
So you said the religious institutions governed it and made it great. The 1970s came along, and as soon as they did,
Feminism.
women started to file divorces at record rates, which is back to my conversation. Soon as you remove the authority of Sky Daddy, now you're back with the state. And now you have difficulty, and now the risk is now greater.
Wow.
So that's the issue that
Then
you
it
have.
sounds like men should be moving towards Sky Daddy then, because it mitigates the risk.
The courts, the nation should be
There's
moving
no
towards
courts.
that. But how do you enforce that?
What court? What courts?
your land
You're
is-
not getting a marriage from the state. What courts are involved
everything
here?
you told me is a make-believe scenario.
How? You can
You're
do it
telling-
right now. How is it make believe?
How do you do that when people
Here's
the
what you
marriages
do.
do state?
Yeah.
I know you want to go
I'll
back
tell
to
you how.
ecclesiastics. This
No,
is
I'm
going to be
telling
a
you, you
problem.
can do it right
Okay.
this second.
Okay,
You
can
could go
do it.
do it right now.
You can do it at this particular
can't
point.
do.
However,
What do you mean?
Here's the problem.
Okay.
Can you get men to do it?
Yes.
Okay, you might be able to think you can get men to do it, but as soon as they do it, I want you to stick around for the average of 8 to 10 years when these men start getting divorced. See, what you're doing is you're leading.
We've
men,
been
hold on
watching
for a
it for
second.
longer.
You've been leading. You're going to lead men into a burning building.
Oh.
And the reason why, and this is a famous quote by Martin Luther King, is because the laws of integration didn't catch up fast enough for what he wanted for people to integrate. And what happened was it took him 12 to 15 years to realize that he led men or black people into a burning building in which integration was not possible at the time.
Okay.
You are also proposing the same thing. And I would like for you to
How?
stick around to see the results of what you're proposing, because eventually you would have to
Sean
pay the
Kelly is
price.
moderating
How
this
did Martin
at
Luther King
all.
pay the price? You would have to pay the price
Sean,
for the
like,
men
you
that
just
you
been
misled.
silent this entire time.
Martin
No
Luther
type of
misled men,
structure.
that's why he was killed.
I said he misled black people. You missed that part.
Those
He said,
right.
okay, let me repeat it because
Yeah.
you're slow.
I
All right,
am,
you
you're
definitely
right.
are slow, Neanderthal.
That's for sure.
Let me tell you
Greg.
something.
I'm dragging
Martin
Knuckles
Luther
over here.
King said specifically,
Yeah.
related to black people and civil rights.
Yeah.
I'll speak slowly for you.
Yeah.
That he believed at the end,
Uh-huh.
he led them into a burning building. I'm going to speak slower. The
Okay.
reason why is because the laws of integration
Yeah.
did not catch up with what he would like to present. Black people weren't ready to integrate. As a result, he said, I may have led my people, that means his people, into a burning building.
Okay.
I would like for you, under your scenario, if your movement takes off,
Yeah.
to see the results, because it took Martin Luther King 12, 15 years to see the
Okay.
results
I understand
of
now.
his efforts.
Yeah.
You're proposing something very extreme that majority of people aren't going to do. But let's just say if, because you like to hide in the clouds of make-believe, if
They did.
this works,
Right.
I would love to see you represent these men in a divorce when they get their head bit off by these so-called women that are forced by Sky Daddy to stay in these
This
marriages.
is really like I don't even understand how
You
to
don't
re-
understand.
how
I
to
know
re-
you have a hard time
I
understanding.
do. I don't actually even understand how to respond to a lot of this because it's so incoherent. But I'm going to try anyway.
Oh yeah, see, this is
So
I
let's
see
start-
this is his always incoherent when he understands. Perhaps you don't
This-
understand.
this isn't-
that might be what it is, and
Yeah.
it's okay to say you don't understand, and I can speak slowly for
I
you.
don't understand now, but I'm going to
Of
tell you
course.
why. I'm going to
Of
tell you
course,
why.
dismissive. I mean, you know,
I'm going to tell you
it's
why.
okay.
It's-
when you're losing, just
okay.
say you're losing,
Well,
and I can speak.
Let
for
me
you
know
a
when I
little
can
bit
talk
slower.
and you gas out.
Go ahead.
Okay.
Go ahead.
So
Yeah,
here's
typical tactic, but you
here's-
can work
Yo,
that against
Greg.
these
Okay, so I still
OnlyFans
can't
girls.
talk.
Hey,
Go
listen,
ahead.
you can work that tactic
What's
against
wrong?
those OnlyFans girls that you debate, debating 23-year-old ignorant women.
they're smarter than you.
But now you're
smarter
sitting
than you.
across from a person.
They're always smarter than you.
Yeah, you're sitting across from a person here.
Oh, no.
That's looking at a Neanderthal, say you don't understand something very
Well, let
simple.
me know when he gas out
This
so
is
I
the
can respond.
simplest thing that
Greg.
you can understand.
Okay.
Chill out.
Your go. Your go.
Are you
Yes.
sure? I
Please.
can actually do it this
And
time?
please, put me to sleep. please.
Okay, so
Put me to
here's,
sleep.
Here's why it's incoherent, and there's a bunch of this I don't understand. You keep on saying that these men are going to get divorced, and yet I'm proposing non-state marriages. How are they going to get divorced? Well, you can only say then via common law. But again, you have no defense yourself against
These are if scenarios.
I don't-
I mean, come
I don't-
on,
I don't-
man. Please, you
I don't-
said I was going to debate somebody
This
that's going to
is-
come.
why do you
this
keep
is a if
filibustering?
scenario?
Are you,
Give me a real scenario,
I let you
please.
speak the entire time.
Give me something to speak about.
Okay,
You're giving me
I'm
a
not
if
asking you to
scenario.
speak. I'm
You're
asking
trying
you
to
to
invite
listen.
me to your church.
I'm just
I'm not going to
asking
your
you
church.
to
Please
listen.
give me a real scenario.
You have to shut up long enough for me to
Come
do
on,
it.
please. I've been here 30 minutes waiting for you to do it.
All right.
Give me a real scenario.
Okay, so what I don't understand here, again,
What the
and
hell?
I'm going to ask again, in your incoherent worldview,
Okay, please.
you keep on saying that these men who I propose this to are going to get divorced. But I'm not proposing that they get married through the state. The state's the one who does the divorces. So the only thing you could say is that there's a potential for common law here. But that's something you yourself cannot guard them from by your own admission. The second problem that we have here is that I don't have to stick around for 10 or 15 years because we can look at the numbers right now in religious marriage for what this looks like. And here's what this looks like. If you're a Catholic, you're way less likely to get divorced. And if you're Orthodox, even less likely to get divorced. And it's because of that ecclesiastical structure. You're not ever going to be able to prevent all risks from divorce, not under anything.
Thank you, God. That's
not,
the best. That's the most realist thing
not
you've
under
said
any,
all day.
but not under any system
Correct.
is that going to be the case.
But
And
why
even-
are
and
Catholics
even-
getting divorced?
And you
How
don't
do they
even
get
want it to.
divorced?
They get annulments. They don't even get divorces.
Okay,
and it's
but how
a
does it
really long
so
process,
Christians,
and it's rare.
Christians have a similar divorce rate than the secular.
No.
So they have a very close. So how do they get divorced?
I'm going to
How
explain.
do Christians get
Tom,
divorced?
I'll answer
Please,
your question.
please tell me, because I know how to get divorced.
So if
right
you
into
say,
the divorce court.
Yeah, I know. So because they call it
Greg,
state
let him
marriage.
finish.
Right.
Yeah, and I'm proposing that they don't do that, right?
Okay, a land of make believe. If
How's that a man land
If-
make believe? You can go fucking do it right now.
Please tell me what
What are you
percent-
talking
listen,
about?
What percentage of people do this particular thing that you're doing, that you're proposing?
Why
What
would that
percent-
matter? Let's say
Why
it's
does it
one
matter?
person.
Okay,
Why would that
it's- okay,
matter?
it's one person. So you're taking a very small chance. You're arguing against me that has millions of people on my
Who are
side.
getting
and
divorced and
millions-
you don't want
But
them
you're
to.
telling me a small 20 people in a little house on the prairie
Yeah.
that do these, that you govern people without electricity and you riding horse and carriages.
Yeah.
You're telling me this small percentage of people are going to lead a movement of doing something you're proposing here on YouTube. This is going. How many people are doing this?
Okay. Why would that matter?
It would matter because
Why?
then we can use some data to determine, do these people end up in divorce?
Well, we can
More
do it.
than likely.
This is great
Please
because
do.
we can look at the data. So
I
let's
would
look
love
at.
to, please.
Do you want to look at the Catholic data and Orthodox data for marriage?
We're talking about your ecclesiastic proposal.
That's
what
is
we're
the
talking about.
This is
Okay.
the ecclesiastical
If
proposal.
we're using Catholic and Christians, their divorce rate tends to be very
No.
close.
I'll look it up.
It's very close. Let's go
Not
ahead and look it
Catholic.
up. Hold on for a second.
Self-ID'd Christians.
Okay,
Self-ID'd Christians.
Okay.
Self-ID.
Self-ID. No, let's just put Christians.
Christian?
He's like,
Christian and Catholic?
he likes
You have to
dice
define-
up-
you have
he
to tell
likes
me what a
di-
Christian
He likes
is.
to dice up all of these people. And
important.
listen, I would love to go to your church one day. I would
Okay.
be a wonderful guest, and I would love to thump the Bible, and I would love to say a prayer with you. However, this conversation is entering
Can we
into
pull up my screen?
very much a Sky Daddy conversation, which
All right, we got
then it's about
Who
belief.
brought up Sky Daddy? You.
It's, you, you,
No,
you
we
brought
can
it up
see that. We
about
got the divorce rates
ecclesiastic
pulled up right
marriage.
here.
That's not.
You brought that up.
What is that?
So
That's,
that is a religious
if
argument.
you're an
which more
atheist, you
people
should
in
be
a
able to
religion-
con-
okay, listen,
contend with
listen,
that,
A lot
dude.
of people would not want to do that. You're telling me a small percentage
Who
of people are going
cares?
to do this.
We're talking about mitigating the rates of divorce. It
now,
doesn't matter how many
can
do
we
it.
move forward from this one? We agree to disagree.
No, we
Can
don't
mo-
agree to disagree.
Okay,
I need
so you want to keep it here in
counter-arguments.
your land of make a
I want
make-believe.
counter
No, I'm
arguments.
not going to argue in your land of make believe.
Yeah,
because
because you can't.
Because,
You have no counter
because it's
arguments.
ridiculous. It's
You don't have
ridiculous.
one counter argument.
Here's a counter argument.
Okay, what is it?
There's no God in marriage. How many times do I have to say that?
That's an
If you
assertion.
end
It's
up-
not an argument.
If you end up in divorce court, God doesn't matter. None of this matters. That's real. That's the realest argument that you can possibly hear. Soon as she
How do
goes-
you end
hold on
up
for a
in a
second,
divorce court without the state?
Hold on for a second. Hold on
How?
for a second. Hold on for a second. I'm going to tell you how.
Okay.
In the 1940s, which you so love, I don't know why you don't live there. You look like you live there. You're dressed like you live there.
They
Here's
wore
the problem.
hoodies and
Hold on for a
jeans.
second.
That's how it is,
Hold
guys.
on for
This
a
is how you
second.
lose debates,
Here's the
bro.
problem.
Okay.
These people, under your authoritative, godly marriage,
Yeah.
still got divorced at high rates
No, they
once
didn't.
no fault divorce showed up. It started at 25%. Then by the time you get here, it's close to 40 and 50%. It's still prevalent. I'm giving you the reality
That's
here.
not the
You're
reality.
trying to drag me back over here to the little house on the prairie. It's not working. It's not going to work with me. How about this?
How about a counter argument?
If
Can I get one
traditional
of
marriage,
those?
I gave you one.
What?
I mean, come on, man.
What is the
Come on,
counter
man.
argument? Come
Listen,
on, man. It's not a
listen,
counter
listen.
argument. What's the counter argument?
There's no God in marriage, and divorce
That's an
court,
assertion, not
there's
an
no
argument.
God in divorce court.
God's not an
I assert
argument.
That there's no
Okay, well,
God
there
in
is a
divorce
God in
court.
divorce court. Argument defeated.
Exactly.
Argument
Yeah.
defeated.
Oh my goodness,
It's
boy!
so
All right, did you
silly.
need your sandbox outside? Did you miss your toys?
It's just
Did you not get a
ridiculous.
nap?
Like,
Here's the
I
problem.
want an argument,
This is the
dude.
absolute argument.
Okay.
You're trying to drag me to church. I'm taking you outside of church. You can't combat it because you want to battle inside the church. I'm not letting you. So let's get back to the
I
state.
don't care if secularists get married.
Let's get back to the state
What do you mean?
and that divorce rate. Did you find out the numbers?
Yeah, I pulled it up earlier, but I'll pull it up again. It's up on the screen. Can you guys see this? Catholic, 19 to 25%. Mainline Protestant, 30 to 35%. Evangelical, 26 to 33.
That's
Yes.
up there.
Now, pull up
That's up there.
Orthodox.
40,
Orthodox.
33, 34, 30. That's pretty high.
Orthodox divorce rate. Let's see.
17 to 20?
I see average 33%.
That's
U.S.
U.S.
average.
That's evangelical
adults.
Protestants. Dude. That's with the
It says
coalition of
Orthodox
all
adults
of them.
ever divorced 17 to 20. U.S.
Yes.
adult average 33%.
Yeah, so they're much lower.
It says in the U.S. 33%. The
They're
Orthodox ever divorced, that's worldwide.
Yeah, they're much lower rates.
Okay, but you're saying that they can't get divorced. That's what you said.
Oh, bro.
You said, is that what you said?
The whole point
said
here
they
is
can't get
how do
divorced
we
because you're
mitigate the
enforcing
risk
them.
of divorce? You can't ever completely mitigate
30%.
it. It can't ever be completely mitigated, but you can mitigate the risk of divorce.
Okay, great.
It is lower. They're
Much
saying-
is
lower,
lower.
much lower.
Okay, all right. So a chance of getting hit 30% versus 44%. This doesn't defeat the argument. Those
It does defeat the
divorces,
argument.
Those divorces happen in the court of law because no divorce cannot be
right.
reported in
So
not
this
that's
is
not in the
great.
court of law.
Actually-
so what is the divorce
Yeah.
that happens outside of the court of law? If it's 33%
Mm-hmm.
in the court of law with your Orthodox ecclesiastic marriage, What is it outside?
Even
What is
lower.
it within that?
It's even lower.
Okay, so add that 10%.
yes.
Now we're at 40%.
No, you wouldn't add that. You wouldn't add 10%.
That's the legal
What are you
divorce.
talking
Hold on for a
about?
second. When you say a divorce, those are reported divorces legally. That means these people filed in the legal reported system. That's 30+%. Okay. You said there would be more that were outside of the door.
No, less.
Outside of the state.
Less.
No, hold on for a second.
Less.
There's additional
No.
outside of the marriage, outside of the state.
No.
Oh, there's none?
Well,
So you're
no,
saying
no,
there's zero.
Not really.
What are you saying?
Okay, so let me explain.
Please.
So that you understand.
Additional to the 33%.
Yeah, but you have to, can you at least let me finish this time?
Please do it because you're slow.
So if it's the case, you're in an ecclesiastical marriage, you're still adding usually the state. These people are all adding the state, okay? The Catholics themselves, if you were to look at their annulments rate from the ecclesiastical authority, it's actually much lower than even the percentage that you're getting from the state because they add the state in, which means some people will ignore the ecclesiastical authority and get divorced anyway.
That's exactly what I've been telling you. The entire
Nobody
time. And
ever
then what?
argued that.
Exactly. But so
We're
how do
arguing
you
about
mitigate? You're saying
mitigating the risk.
It
Mitigating
seems
the
like there's
risk.
Still a risk.
No, it would mitigate the risk.
So the risk is slightly lower.
Much lower.
Okay, that's not that much lower.
It's
The
much
divorce rate
lower.
is 40%. You're talking about 33% to 43%.
No, we're not. We're talking about 20% to 35 to 40%.
Okay, so that's lower.
Yes.
Okay, that's all you got. Now, here's
That's
the
all I
problem.
need.
That's not all you need because there's still risk. How do you say at this
Nobody
particular
said
point-
there wouldn't be risk.
Exactly.
You
So
can't
at this
mitigate
particular
risk
point-
for anything 100%. It's not possible.
Exactly. So now why are we telling men to get married? at that
Because you
particular
have
point?
to, because everything is a cost benefit analysis. Your issue's not marriage. Your issue is with mitigating
At
the risk.
this point, it's not marriage.
It's
This is the only.
mitigating-
This is the. Hold on for a second. Can I say this?
Oh my God.
You're-
Can you
Hold
ever
on for a
stop
second.
saying something so I
Come on,
can say
listen.
something?
At this particular point, listen,
Okay, I'm
You're
listening.
telling me from this point, we haven't even got to the entire marriage because you're still over in the land of make believe. We haven't even got to the other issues
What's
of marriage.
make-believe?
All right. If I hear them say make believe and ifs and what was the other word? Sky Daddy, like this is gonna become like a long video. This has been going for 49 minutes. So
Hold
that's
on for a
crazy.
second. We still haven't got to the other issues of marriage.
I'm willing to
so
get to
you're
everything.
telling me about the mitigation risk, and we've wasted too much time on it. Can we talk about the other issues of marriage?
Well,
which
okay.
are sexless
Can
marriage.
we at least wrap this up?
Yeah,
real
let
quick?
Andrew finalize this,
Please.
and then
Yeah,
we'll move on to
so
that.
the thing is like the problem is you said it was a great institution. If you say it's a great institution, even when it was a great institution, people were still getting divorced. So if that's the case, what you're really after is just mitigating risk. And I'm giving you a perfect way to mitigate risk, right? And the fact of the matter is that it is becoming more and more popular to do it this way. Prenup plus ecclesiastical authority almost mitigates your risk entirely, except for common law, but you can pick the state to live in for that. And you, by your own logic, can't defer from common law either. You can't protect men from that. So the thing is like, you can't have it both ways. You can't agree marriage is good and the backbone for the West and you really like it and it's fucking great and it's a great institution, but also don't do it because it's make-believe that you can mitigate risk even though you can right this second. That's insane.
Listen,
All right, final
I'm
point.
listening.
final point. Let's get to the other risks that are associated with it. We got that.
That's
we
not a
tackled
final
that
point on this.
That is a
Make the final point and then
listen,
go to
listen. I'm a grown man. I'm not 22-year-old OnlyFans. I'm going to say what I want to say. Listen to this. At this particular point,
You got
we're
me
moving
on that
forward.
one.
Listen, we're moving forward.
that. Okay, we're moving
At
forward.
this point, what are the other risks that we want to guard against? We got the divorce. You're going to put them on the ecclesiastic paperwork. Less people are doing that. Not a lot of people know how to
Okay.
do it. He just got married. He didn't do it. All right. I can almost guarantee.
Probably not.
Exactly.
So what?
So now, less people are going to do this. Not a lot of people know that. Not a lot of men are going to
So it
prepare
sounds like we
themselves to
should
do
try to
that.
change that, huh?
Exactly. So that would be
I
a
agree.
very tough
We should
scenario,
try to change
and
it.
most likely it's not going to happen moving forward.
Okay.
There are other issues in marriage
Okay, let's
that
get to 'em.
typically, if depending on what authority you go under, are still a risk for men. Yes, it's great for the backbone, but a lot of men are in sexless marriages. A lot of women are in sexless
True.
marriages. The percentage of affairs in marriages
Mm-hmm.
are still a big issue. That can't be addressed.
Oh.
Those risks are going to be tough. And now you have an issue because now whoever's your authority has to mitigate that risk. Now all of a sudden they have to govern or socially pressure the women, and that's going to be difficult to do. 20%, 30% of sexless marriages, 20, 30% of people having affairs. This is not the intent of people who get married. So yes, we have the divorce. We set that aside. Now, what about within the marriage? How do you mitigate the risk for that? I'm assuming you're going to have the ecclesiastic come through the home and force the wives to fuck their husbands.
Oh, that's quite the straw man. But
I'm assuming.
I'll go ahead and answer. Actually, the ecclesiastical authority does mitigate against this, and here's my proofs. Proof one. If it is the case that you get married to a woman who's a virgin, but she's a virgin because she's a Christian, hang on, let me get through the entirety of the argument before you start freaking out. If it is the case,
Virgins.
your chances of that marriage ending, very, very, very small, one. And two, they report that they have a happier sex life. This is actually the case with the decrease in body count, which generally comes with the more religious people, meaning the more that you take your religion seriously, the more that you pray, the more that you engage in that whole ecclesiastical authority thing, the less likely it is you step out of your marriage, significantly less likely. The less likely it is that you end up in a sexless marriage. You know why? Because there's a reinforcement in Christianity that men and women are not allowed to deprive each other of that, of sex, when it comes to marriage. And you find that people who follow the traditional faith generally don't. And so, yes, the ecclesiastical authority preaches that from the pulpit. Sorry, lady, you got to fuck your husband. That's part of God's law. Yeah. What do you got for him? Go out and just fuck everybody? What
That's an interesting
what are
leap.
you going
That's
to
an
do
interesting leap.
to mitigate? By the way, you're at the mercy of the same criticism. You can't mitigate guys' girlfriends from fucking around on them any more than you could a person's wife. You can't mitigate them stepping out on them. You can't mitigate them treating them like shit.
girlfriend.
You can't do anything. At
no
least I
penalty.
have a mitigation here. You have nothing. You have nothing. Just liberal degeneracy. Give me something. Something you could do that would give any sort, any kind of fail-safe against this. One thing.
I don't know what communities you live in, but your church pastor is going to be very busy walking in all of these bedrooms, preventing divorce and enforcing women to sleep with their husbands. Now, the first leap
like you
of
didn't
faith
even
that you
hear what I
have,
said.
hold on for a second. Oh, I heard you. The first leap of faith is virgin. Okay, if we look at the stats, please pull up the stats of how many women qualify
It doesn't
as a
hinge
virgin.
on virginity.
You said
That's the
virginity. I'm just
baseline.
letting you know.
Oh my
You
God.
brought it up.
In
Now,
America?
in America, what women percentage qualify as virgins? All right, so you're going to say very few. So you know this.
7%.
7%.
22 to 34.
7%.
Yep.
Okay.
Do you know what?
So now we have.
God, this guy. Do you know what a baseline for an argument is?
That was the baseline.
Yeah,
You
and
want to say
so
now? Do we want to
the
increase
base-
the body count?
yeah,
I mean,
the-
because
yes,
if you're looking,
that was the whole point of the baseline of the argument.
So right now, if we can pull up how many women in Gen Z, because this is marital age women, would have a body
That's
count
not the only
lower than
marriage-
5.
No,
because
millennials
now
are
we're
also marriageably aged. What do you mean?
okay. Millennials, younger
Yeah.
millennials.
Yeah.
Okay, because there's no point in older people getting married. They're not procreating. All right, they're gonna have 1 or 2 kids.
Older
That doesn't
people
help
do
us.
procreate.
Not that much. All right,
That's
they're going to
true,
have 1 or
but
2 kids.
the
All right,
thing-
listen. It said in the
What
Bible,
do you
in
mean?
your Bible, it says
Yeah.
be fruitful and multiply, not add. All right, we're not adding one little autistic kid. We're multiplying.
That would be
All right?
multiplying.
No, it wouldn't be multiplying.
Yes,
Having
it would.
one little bright
if you
ass
have
kid.
3 and you have 1 more, that's
All right,
multiplying.
however, multiplying by 1. All right, that's
So
not the answer.
multiplying.
Okay, listen. We're multiplying
Okay.
by multiples. You know what I'm talking about. Now listen.
Yeah, that is a
you
multiple
Want,
that
the,
we're
hold on for a second.
multiplying
Hold on
by.
for a second. You want to convince me
This is
that there's going to be
hilarious.
women of low body count in this secular world we live in to make your scenario
They're more
work,
likely
to
to-
enforce women to have
Yeah,
sex with their
they're gonna be
husband
more
from
like-
the pulpit.
Yeah.
Do you see?
pulpit.
This is very strange.
Well, I have
from
all
a
the data
secular
to back
person.
show me
from a very
anything.
small percentage. I mean, it works in a podunk town. I don't
Doesn't
know where
just
you're
work in a
from.
podunk town.
We're talking about the metropolises. We're talking about major
And
cities.
how is your
And you're
plan
talking about
gonna mitigate
virginity.
that? How
You're
is your
I
plan
asked
gonna
you.
mitigate
Remember,
that?
I don't know if you remember. I asked you. All right.
And I
This is
told
the question
you.
and you came back with virgins.
No.
And you came back with
God.
enforcing
Why
sex
do
from
you
the
only
pulpit.
give half the argument? That's why you can't respond to my arguments. So let's do it again. If you want
Please.
to mitigate.
Force women to have loaded body
You're
counts.
not, dude. How's it force?
Go ahead.
How's it force?
You're the one enforcing sex
How
with the
is it?
husband.
How?
do you
How are we
enforce
using
sex?
force?
How are you enforcing sex to the
Through
husband from the
social,
pulpit?
through social pressure, doofus. The same way you would with
Okay,
everything.
Gentlemen, your wife is going to have sex with you because church reverend enforced her to have sex with
Oh God.
you.
Do you think?
Okay, please pull up the chat.
Yeah, pull
His
up the chat.
suggestion is to have a church reverend enforce you
They're
to
not
have
enforcing
burning
it.
desire to have sex with your
Enforce
husband.
requires force. Enforce is a derivative of force. You can't enforce absent force. No one's saying force.
This is how your sex is going to be had in his marriage. It's through enforcement, through the religious pulpit.
No, it's going to be
this
the
is
idea.
2025,
if it's
and we're
the
still here
idea-
somewhere on Little House on the
Yeah,
Prairie.
if it's the idea,
I would love
that
to have
women
this reality.
If it's the idea that women have and men have both, that they're not supposed to deprive each other from this because that is how they live the life of a Christian. The case of the matter is that they try to keep themselves sexually appealing to the partner. They try to keep themselves moving towards that state where they're found appealing. That's part of that. Why do you think? And by the way, you keep saying force. Can you
Enforce.
demonstrate anywhere that I said that there would be any force involved with any of this, or that it's even
I said
necessary?
enforce.
Enforce is force.
Correct. That's what. So I was
So
correct
where
by
is
using
the force? Where?
You tell me. You're the one.
You're
that's gonna
asked the
say-
question.
Wait, you're the one that told me the church reverend is going to come enforce marriage.
No,
and sex.
when?
You said that earlier.
No. I said the
Enforcement
ecclesiastical
from the pulpit-
authority
from the
uses
pulpit.
social pressure.
Social pressure
That's
to
not
make your
force.
wife fuck your husband.
No, you're not
So
making them
that's-
do anything.
Okay, to encourage them to fuck their
Yeah.
husband. Okay, this
Don't you encourage people's wives to fuck them?
I don't need to be in their bedrooms that much.
Yeah,
I
I
can't
mean, if
force her
somebody,
to do
if,
anything.
a, if
Listen, I
somebody
can't
called
force
you,
a woman to do
if
very
a woman
much.
called you and said, "I don't sleep with my husband. He seems angry at me," would you encourage him or her to sleep with him?
I wouldn't encourage her to do anything, especially with
You
me.
wouldn't
I don't
encourage
mess
her
with
to do
I don't mess with married women. That's their
Brilliant.
business. I
So
mean,
your
that's their-
solution
that's
is
their-
fucking nothing. Nothing.
My solution is very clear.
What is it?
You're telling me at this
Yeah.
particular point that you're going to enforce through social pressure. Social pressure.
That's not
Hold on for a
force.
second. Social
There's no
pressure
enforcement.
social pressure enforces women to be very promiscuous at this particular point. Now, you're talking about 7% of the population or better, maybe 10, that are going to fall under this category, and this is going to lead a wave of women sleeping with their husband through social pressures, when social pressure quite tells them the opposite. Let me
What?
move. Let me
I don't
handle
even
this.
know what the hell you're talking about at this point.
Exactly. It's very difficult. I know.
It
It's
is
very
very
difficult for
difficult.
you. I know exactly, and very nice tactic. But listen, these
It's
are
not
all-
a tactic. I really
these
am
are all-
trying my hardest
you're-
to understand.
You're taking a very small scenario to
Yeah.
make it the large scenario. When I'm telling you the larger scenario is the reality, and you're telling me
Both are
if
reality.
I do this, if I do that,
No,
this
and
is
so
a
are
very
you.
small percentage.
You're doing the same
I'm
thing.
telling you about
if
what's
you get
happening.
married, you may get a
No, I
divorce.
said
you
when.
may. If this happens, then this may happen.
We already looked at the statistics of it likely happening.
Yeah, no,
so that is
no.
likely to happen.
First of all, even the
can you
statistics you
pull up
looked
the
at,
statistics again?
the
Which one?
pull up
The
the
marriage
statistics
statistics, the
for the
divorces.
Christians. It's
No,
actually not likely, is
Overall
it?
in the United States? Overall in the United States.
Yeah,
So
that-
only in order for it to work, you have to be white.
You need to break
make a
this
certain
down by
income. Hold on for a
demographics.
second. You need. Of
You want me to
course.
break it down?
So
and social and
so you want to go.
socioeconomics.
You want to go. In order for your marriage to work, they have to be white, Christian.
They don't have to be white.
Make money.
No.
And then also probably live in a certain region.
If it's the
now,
case
what if that's
that-
not the case? Because
Yeah.
in the United States, I don't know where you live, but in the caves
Then
and
we use
hills
the
of United-
apparatuses.
If you take the rest of the United States, they're highly not that. That is outside of those demographics.
And don't
so
you wanna
what if
change
they're-
that?
What if they're outside of that?
Don't
What
you
if they're
wanna-
not white
don't-
and Christian?
don't you wanna
What if
change
they're
that?
not Christian to make $100K? What do you suggest then?
Yeah, so here's what I would suggest. If it's the case that in the black community you have more divorces than in the white community, there's going to be contributing factors for why that is. I don't think that black people are just ontologically different than white people, do you? Do you just believe that at their core they're just ontologically different, or do you think that they're the same? Because if that's the case, if we're equal people and equal people groups, then there must be some other social factors which are relating to this that increase the divorce rate in the black community that doesn't exist yet in the white community. If that's the case, we
Yeah.
would specifically target those issues to prevent that from happening, right? We're going to do this
And what
across.
is it?
We're going to do this across the board. Well,
what would they be?
For the black community, there's a bunch. One, you have a distinction in economic certitude. The second one is you got a massive abortion rate, which is super problematic. Another one is you use matriarchal structures in the family home instead of patriarchal. Huge issue that you have. By the way, when it was Christian based, it didn't happen. It was a patriarchal structure inside those black homes. And boy, they didn't put up with shit. Not the case anymore. So you have multiple factors here which need to be addressed. I agree with that. Nobody ever disagreed with that, though. What we're trying to do is look at the mitigation of risk. And even for the black community,
handled that already.
If the black community moves in to these conventionally traditional churches, they still will have the same ecclesiastical authority, which will assist them in governing their marriage that white people would have, and it would still assist with the mitigation of risk. What's the alternative? It's just degeneracy, right? The alternative is just like, well, just hump them and never get married. Well, what good does that do for blacks? What good does that do? It just leads to more abortion. It just leads to more degeneracy. It leads to high crime rates, and the single motherhood's out of control. So, like, what are you doing to prevent any of that? Nothing. Nothing. Tell me what? What?
Okay, thank you. You said things that people have known for the past 45 years,
You
but I
didn't answer the
appreciate that.
question.
Hold on for a second. Thank you for contributing to a common conversation that people know, but you offer no other solution. That's great.
Even
Now,
I
here's
did.
a problem. Here's a problem with this. It's an if scenario. That would be great if we can go back to this. It would be great if we can go back and look at and say that blacks, when they were in the 40s and 50s, they had more stable relationships and marriages than even white folks. Here's the issue.
Okay.
Why stop at the 40s? Let's talk about 1863.
Okay.
Your tradition seems to always hit this point of 1940s where you shine this light of traditionalism that you've never lived in, that seems to be in a snapshot of something that you don't even know about. Then when I fast
You're not
forward
even
20
saying anything, dude.
again, you're not listening. When I fast forward to 1970, when it falls all apart with no fault divorce, based on what I've been arguing, what happens? All that traditionalism falls apart. Why don't we take it further? Why don't we take it back to bride prices? I mean, how far in tradition you're going to go? You're only going to bang your head around 1940 and 50 because you watched a couple of movies and I Love Lucy episodes? That's not tradition.
Okay.
That was a snapshot in history that you're trying to achieve again.
So-
take it back further. There's
Okay.
no marriages in the
Fine.
black community.
Let's say we'll
Okay.
take it. Let's say we take it all the way back to the 1700s. Let's just say, just for the sake of it, right? And that I'm totally wrong about all this, just for the sake of argument. Let's just say, what is your prescription to deal with any of those issues when you're telling men in the black community to not get married? How is that going to assist with abortion? How's that going to assist with strong fathers in the home? How's that going to assist with the only demographic population which can't reproduce itself? How? Can you give me a single prescription to any of that?
Let me tell you something. I agree with you on this.
I just want a prescription, dude.
Here's the problem. I agree with you. And listen, if you had any ability to provide this prescription better than Louis Farrakhan or Martin Luther King,
that mean
or
no?
give me a second. Listen to me. These men have tried to pretty much heal this issue, and they haven't.
No, they
so
didn't.
Andrew Wilson certainly not to. Neither will CGA. So I don't have a prescription
That's
for the black
right.
community because
That's
the
right.
black community is pretty much doomed at this particular point. They have too much degeneracy. They have single mother rates at the 70 and 80%.
black
But I'm going to
pill
tell you
bullshit.
something. You want to come in here and tell me something about Ecclesiastics, and
Mm-hmm.
you're telling me about the reality of the black community, how to fix it. Nobody's been able to fix that community. So there's nothing you can do, and I can't offer any solution for that.
Look,
now,
is
at
that-
that particular
yeah.
point, you're saying the risk is higher. It certainly will be higher under those matriarchal conditions. So you get no argument from me there. So at that point, where's your statistics lie then?
Well,
Where's your solution then?
I'll tell you again. So I'm glad
He's going to solve the community problems here. I'd love to hear
didn't
this.
say. Listen again. I'm not saying
The black
that-
community problem
Yeah,
solved
yeah.
by Andrew Wilson.
That says the guy who literally just
would
got
love to
done
hear
saying,
this.
I
I would
have
love to hear
zero prescriptions.
Because nobody does.
Yeah,
that
well, here's
community
the
is here.
thing.
But I would love to hear
Here's
the
the
black
thing.
community solved by Andrew
Yeah,
Wilson.
so let me tell you a bunch of things that can be done which will help mitigate these
please
issues.
do. Please
the
do.
first is
that you can accomplish.
Yeah.
Not some
that can be-
pipe dream.
That can be accomplished.
here we go.
That can be accomplished politically, and already are
Politically.
beginning to be accomplished politically. The first is you have to outlaw abortion. You have to. It has to be outlawed. And not by state where you can just go to the next state and do another abortion, right? One of the biggest problems with promiscuity in the black community is that they use abortion as a form of birth control. Same problem that you see in the white community, by the way. It's just more prevalent in the black community. The next problem that you have there is the lack of religiosity, where there used to be a really strong core religious base of based black men. And they were patriarchal, very patriarchal. And the thing is that it's the idea of these feminist bra-burning lunatics that told black women not to be under the evil patriarchy of their men. And yet, at this point, the men are rolling over and allowing the matriarchy to take over in their own community. Is a return to traditional church ethics going to assist that? Of course it will. Of course it will. How do I know? Because it did then, just a few short years ago. I'm not talking about hundreds of years ago. I'm talking about 60 years ago. By the way, there's other things that you can do too. Getting rid of EBT, getting rid of social programs which are designed to
Goodness.
keep people dependent. These are all things which can be politically accomplished. Just like abortion, the starting of banning that was politically accomplished in our lifetime. And the thing is like, you have no prescriptions. Fuck, at least I'm trying here, man.
Man, Andrew, you are Captain Obvious. This is the
Well,
obvious
then why didn't you
prescription.
obviously? Then why didn't you obviously state it as a prescription?
Because people have exhausted the means to be able to do this. Trust me, there have been people way better than you that dress
Who?
better than you and shave their beard
Yeah,
better
whatever.
than you that can do this,
Yeah.
and they haven't been able to accomplish it. You
So
have the
therefore, nobody
Democratic
can.
Party that is highly influential. 92% of black women voted for Democrats. That's also possibly where most of those women go to church. Most of black churches are overwhelmingly women. It's a woman's club, and you're telling me about
Not the
something
traditional
completely
churches.
obvious that everybody has pointed out for 25 years. You're not giving me anything new. This is a completely obvious scenario, and you believe that you've enlightened me over here, and you're waiting for me to give you a solution.
A
Let me
debate
tell you
is
something.
not about
I'm-
changing your mind.
You certainly would never do that. Now, at this particular point here, the unsettling experience that men experience in divorce, all right, you're saying you're just going to mitigate it or eradicate it. What about the small percentage of men that experience it and go through issues like high levels of self-deletion, high levels of them not being able to recover financially ever? They're still going to experience this under your scenario.
Yes.
This doesn't disappear.
It'll
What
never
prescription do you have for those men that went to your marriage
Yeah.
and they got divorced 33%? What do you do
Well,
with
no, it's
these
not
men?
33% by
Okay,
tradition.
20%, 30%. It still was at a high rate.
I think it would
what
even be
prescription
lower than that.
You would hope so. You would hope so. But hope is not a strategy. What hold on for a second. What scenario do you have for men that you led into the burning building when they experience separation from their children, parental alienation, high levels of self-deletion?
Yeah.
What prescription do you have, sir, that you sold?
Yeah,
have
that's a
all
great
you
question.
have all the answers. Please enlighten us.
Yeah, so-
what you're going to do with these men?
so-
Are you going to enforce them to have sex
Yeah,
with
yeah.
other virgins that
I'll
you have on the
answer.
sideline?
I'll answer the question,
Please
but I
do.
want to make a deal with you that if I answer this last question of yours, that you'll actually answer when I ask you after that. Is that a
Listen, we're
deal?
not in a court of law. I don't have to answer anything. I can state something.
Yeah, I know,
and
but
then
I'm
we
asking
go
if we
back
can
and
make a
forth.
deal. That if I
I'll
answer this
consider
question, you'll answer
answering
my
the
next
question
one.
that you asked me. I'll
So
consider
we're not
it.
going to make a deal on that?
I don't have to make a deal. Listen,
You don't
I'll
have to.
consider
I'm asking if
answering
you will.
something. Possibly. So go ahead.
Possible? Okay, well
Possibly.
then I possibly will hold the debate hostage until you possibly make a deal with
All right,
me.
great. So that gives me the floor.
So we'll just sit here and
They
stare at
give me
each
the floor?
other, or we
Well,
just
here's the deal.
filibuster each other. Like
At this particular point,
so
oh, you don't
I-
want to.
so I can
you
answer.
want to answer it. You want to
Yeah,
answer it.
but you're not going to.
answer
But you're not going to answer mine. I just want that clear. You're not going to answer mine after. You're just going to filibuster and stonewall again.
I ask you the question. Put it on the table.
So this is pretty simple, right? What you're proposing here. Every policy prescription which is made anywhere in any nation, with any people group, from the tribal all the way to the national level, is going to be a trade-off, no matter what. There's always going to be some people who are disaffected by it in some small percentage, and there's not a damn thing you can do about it. We don't run societies based on outliers. The second thing is, when it comes to suicide in men, particularly, one of the best ways to mitigate that is to begin the process of eliminating deployment of troops abroad. Because one of the biggest contributing factors to male suicide, including in marriage with divorce, is their veteran status. And it's because they really depend on their family to assist them with what's going on mentally from the fact they've been deployed in these wars. And one thing you could really do that would help that's what the American First policy is we want to bring the troops home, no more foreign wars. That will greatly help and aid with this problem. And by the way, policy-wise, it's already been aiding with this as
Okay,
Trump has
this
wound
is-
these wars down. And by the way,
Let's go
I'll
ahead and-
point out
that's a good. That's a good one. I like it.
I'll
Go
point
ahead.
out a few more things that
Go
you
ahead,
can
please do. Yes.
So another thing that you can do is at the national level, right? From propaganda works. I'm sure you agree. Propaganda absolutely works.
Absolutely.
If at a national level you had propaganda, which instead of showing LGBTQ flags, degeneracy, girl bossing, shit like this, which is what you see everywhere, you had institutional family units instead. Right? And that was what you saw everywhere that you went. And that was where the social status was. At the top-down level, that would really help change people's psyches around. The same way they were indoctrinated towards the degeneracy, same way you can indoctrinate them out of degeneracy. That's how we got a whole nation to smoke. And it's also how we got a whole nation to quit smoking. So the thing is, like, there really are good prescriptions here. And the only thing I get from you...
Wait a minute.
Hang on.
We're talking about
Hang on.
self-deletion
Almost
of
done.
men.
Almost done.
Okay.
Yes, that'll
Okay.
help with self-deletion of men. Yes. And it's one of the biggest contributing factors. Single motherhood, another huge contributing factor. These are all things which we need to mitigate. And by the way, these are all great prescriptions. You said I don't have none.
No, for a second. That's what you said. Now, here's the deal. These are great prescriptions. I happen to live in the time that you're talking about when the FCC didn't allow degeneracy, and I was able to live through the time where they started to allow it. So I, unfortunately, was able to see a time where America was great, and now we had dysfunction. So I agree with some of those things. That took place probably 40 or 50 years. It would take a very, very
Maybe 100
unique
years.
scenario for that to occur when you have Cardi B and this type of music out here. And she's a single mother divorcee with a man that is having babies
See,
with
now
multiple
that's
men.
a good argument.
Okay, so how...
That's an actual argument.
Hold
the
on for a
first one
second.
I've
No,
heard.
that's something that you agree with. That's okay.
No, that's an
okay.
actual
That's okay.
argument.
No, it's an agree. You just agree. You can be humble enough to say you
That's
agree
an
with me.
actual
No,
argument.
listen, you don't have to be, you don't have to belittle or attempt to belittle.
Well,
I'm here a grown ass
I'm not.
man.
The argument
just say
is
you agree.
propaganda
Hey,
takes
listen,
time.
listen. Just say you agree. You wanted me
It's
to
not
answer
a matter
question.
of
Just say you
agreement. It's a
agree.
matter of
Just say
recognizing
you
that was an
agree.
argument.
It's okay, sir.
It's
I know
the
you,
only
I know
argument
you're not
you've
used
made
to
the whole
somebody
debate.
across from you. No, just say you agree. You can humble yourself in the sight
I
of
don't
me.
agree.
Now,
It's
listen,
just an
listen.
argument.
You agree.
It's
Be a
just-
big boy.
Oh,
Be
yeah.
a big boy.
I don't
Now, listen,
agree, but
hold
it's
on
an
for a second.
argument.
Here's a second. Here's a second.
Okay.
You're telling me it's going to take 50 to 100 years.
No.
I asked you about a man that's considering taking his life today.
Mm-hmm.
You're telling me about propaganda machine. Okay, there are men here that are been abandoned from their kids. They've been alienated. I'm talking about today. I'm not talking about in the church. I'm talking about today.
Okay, I'll answer
You're
to
telling
today.
me about some scenario where you're going to change liberalism and bring in righteous conservatism. That's not going to work today. We need solutions for men today, not 50 years from the turning point meeting. Okay, at this point, today we have men that are in dire need of help.
I agree.
They're going through unsettling situations and divorces. This is who I speak to, and you keep telling me obvious answers about propaganda and changing this and going to church. This sounds great on paper, but that doesn't happen today. You don't start that today. Can you give me a one solution you got that starts today, Mr. I got all the solutions? We
you-
can start today.
Yeah. If you assist with funding MRA groups today, who are trying to legislate and get legislation passed today to create preventative measures for those men today. Now, if you ask me, can you do anything about a man who might be willing to blow his head off right this second because he's already going through the events of divorce, which I had nothing to do with, wasn't there for, could never do anything about?
Nobody can do
Can you
anything about
prevent?
it.
Of course, nobody can. But that's built
Even
into
your righteous
but that's
ecclesiastic
built, that's
reverend
built,
from the pulpit.
Yes, but it's built into the question. What you're building into the question is probably the worst framing ever. Andrew, if somebody right this second is willing to do
Here we
something
go.
bad,
Here's
can
the-
you stop them?
Here it
It's
comes.
like,
Here it comes. Look at the
I don't
scenario.
understand.
But your scenario is
Yeah.
to change MRA funding when women outvote men 60 to 40%, and you have women lobbyist groups and zero men lobby groups. That's what you're telling
That's
me.
really
We're going
funny.
to change to fund MRA groups. When
Congress
MRA
makes
groups,
the law,
hold on
not
for a
the
second.
voters, sir.
Hold on. When
Congress makes the law.
MRAs are on some terror lists. Yes.
Yeah, that's
so
true.
you're telling me that they're going to start just switching funding. We're just going to switch funding over here
Yeah.
to a terrorist organization,
is-
according to some of these websites.
yeah, I would say
This is just a pie in the sky. All
it's
your
funny.
solutions are completely
Not
pie
only
in
is
the
it
sky.
not pie in the sky, but I'll give you an
Absolutely
example. I'll give you an example.
The least possible situation that
Well,
can
I'll
occur.
give you an example of where it's already happened. So I would argue that the traditional churches are MRAs, that they are men's rights advocacy groups, and that's where traditional masculinity is mostly found today, where men are even allowed to be masculine.
There's
hang on. Let me finish my point. And it is the case that those MRAs, in this case the traditional churches, already got abortion rolled back, didn't they? They're already moving these things back. They're already at the forefront of fighting degeneracy. They are also the ones who are at the charitable forefront of helping those same veterans who are blowing their heads off when the government doesn't even pay any attention to them. When by the time the government was all done doing any of these reforms when it came to veterans associations, it was those pesky old traditional churches from Sky Daddy that you hate so much. They were the ones on the forefront who were actually assisting those people and not doing that. While you you asked me this question, Andrew. What can you do right this second for a guy who's going to blow his head off? Well, probably nothing. But
course
neither
not.
can you.
Of course
But
not.
at least we can do something about that not happening to others.
Okay, so that's very easy to accomplish in red states. And red states overwhelmingly were the states that got those things passed.
Yeah.
They were already going to get it passed without the interaction of these so-called righteous individuals.
That
were
was
saying,
done
hold
at
on
the
for a
federal
second.
level,
Now
not
let's
the
just,
state level.
yeah, through Donald Trump. And,
Yeah, the
and like.
federal
Now
level.
watch
It
this.
doesn't- it has nothing
But
to do with red
California, Nevada, these are all states that you can easily drive to and get it done because they're red
Which is why we
or
need
they're
a
blue
federal
states.
ban, yeah.
And at that particular point, are we going to get a federal ban? Do
Yeah,
you
we
believe
very
have?
possibly could. Yeah,
Possible.
it looks good. It looks
Good, but
Yeah.
we don't have it today. All right, so we don't.
You
we're not.
can't-
Again, we don't have it.
So what
and
you wanna
more
do-
than likely,
Yeah.
I'm going to tell you. You said it's possible, and I say more than possible. You're not going to get it. All right. So at that point,
That's what
now
they
you
said
have
about
an
Roe
issue.
v. Wade, and they were wrong.
They're wrong today. They're wrong. Possibly, we possibly might get it, but California is. They're not doing it. I can drive to California
If there's
right
a
now.
federal ban,
when
they
there's
can't
a woman that
stop
can
it.
drive it, I could take a woman to Nevada.
Yeah,
You can
but
take
it's
her to
already
many
decreasing
places
the
right now.
rates. It's already working. Like, what are you talking about? It's already effective.
All it does is just send women to another place.
And
They're
it
gonna find
reduces the amount of abortions.
It reduces it so
Significantly.
Now we're not. That's all we're talking about. Reducing it. We're
Yeah.
talking about now the unsettling experiences.
So do nothing?
We're doing something.
Yeah.
We're doing something. I'm informing
Yeah.
people. I'm informing people. I'm giving people the information.
To do what?
And you're telling me
What do
a
you
pie in
want
the
them
sky
to do?
solution that might take
Tell me
forever.
what men should do.
I'm telling you what they're
What?
doing. All right. At this particular point, this
Yeah.
is the question that you've been wanting to ask me. All right. I put out a book called 52 Things That Men Should Do Prior to Considering Marriage.
Okay.
What it does is take it through a step-by-step approach of what they need to look out for just to detect.
What does that
Hold
do,
on for a
man,
second.
right
Hold on for a
now?
second. Just to detect this man's considering. I've had plenty of men that said they were considering marriage. They found the red flags because of my book, and they stopped getting married to a woman that eventually they saw would have been bad for them. That would have cost them hundreds of thousands of dollars. So I'm doing something very positive. Now watch this.
This is
you
great.
mitigate the red flags. You allow
Mitigate the
men to
risk.
understand what the process of marriage is.
Mitigating the risk.
Then you're going into possibly telling them what the state is involved in, how your children are affected, parental alienation, the odds of self-deletion, and so forth and so on. So that's an
I
obvious
want to make sure I got this right.
opportunity for men to learn.
So I want to get this right.
You're telling me
What
a pie in
you're
the sky
doing-
possibility of changing
Yeah,
laws
so what you're
when women
doing-
outvote men 60 to 40%.
Yeah. So you wrote. It doesn't, dude. You don't even understand the political process and how it works. Voting itself, when you're talking about
lobby groups.
yeah, you're
What
talking about
men's
lobby
lobbies
groups and
What men lobby
NGOs.
groups? What male lobby groups do they
The
have?
traditional churches.
Okay, we're back to church again.
They're the ones
Okay,
who
we're
do all
back-
the lobbying
Yes.
on behalf of men.
They're doing it on behalf of the men that follow them. That's not on
It's
behalf
for
of
all men. This abortion
It
ban
typic-
helps
it
all
typically-
men,
It
not some. Their charities to men who are going to kill themselves helps all men, not some.
It doesn't help all men in that situation.
Yes,
it helps
it
the men.
helps.
Because listen,
Yes, it
I'm going to
does.
tell you where it doesn't. There might be a woman considering getting an abortion, and he wants to keep the kid. He has no mitigating risk.
They're the only ones trying to change that.
Exactly. Who is?
The traditional
You're saying the
churches.
traditional churches.
Yes.
All right. At that point, that doesn't help him.
Yes, it does help him.
So you're saying at that point it's only the traditional church when you have hundreds of female lobbyist groups and you have them out.
They're the
voting
ones
men.
combating those
And
female
that's it.
lobbying groups.
And
Yes.
that's it. How are they doing? Only the red
They're
states.
doing great.
Only the red
No,
states.
at the federal level, they're doing great. You're wrong.
You can still go to other states to get it done.
Yes, but we've still
this point.
managed to mitigate it even in those states. It's a
That's-
war. It's a political
that's right.
war. That's how it works.
Exactly.
And not only that, let's point this out. Your whole solution here, I wrote a book to help mitigate future events. Oh, great. Andrew, what are you trying to do? Help mitigate future events.
Exactly.
Oh, right now, right this second, what can I do to help? Andrew says right this second, if guy has a 357 in his mouth, he's going to pull the trigger, he can't do anything. You're totally right, but neither can you by your own admission.
Correct.
So there we go there. When we're looking at the future, though, and I say, let's do all of these different prescriptions, which we can actually politically accomplish and move towards, you say, that's all fucking pie in the sky, blah, 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 blah. I ask, well, what can you do as far as future prescriptions?
And
You
I
say,
told them-
blacks are fucked, and I have absolutely no prescriptions for it.
No,
Sorry,
actually, I
guys.
wrote a book, 52 Things That Men Could Consider
To
prior
mitigate
marriage.
divorce risk. The
To
same thing I'm
find
trying
out
to do.
If they're marrying the right woman. So you're just
Mitigating
mad.
divorce
You're just
risk.
mad that I have one solution, you have another, and we don't
Mine's
agree with
better.
it. That's what you believe. I think yours is pie in the sky. So that's just.
I
your
don't see
own
how it
belief
can be
system.
pie in the sky.
When
It's
not
affecting
working.
way
You're
more men
asking-
than your book
you're
is.
asking, no. My book actually has 15 plus thousand. You have how
So?
many? Hold on. You have
So?
how many? You have how many ecclesiastic marriages that your church pastor is going to go into the bedroom and enforce marriages? You can't even give me
Nobody
a number.
ever proposed
you couldn't
that.
even
You're
give me
such
a number.
a liar.
You can't
It's
even give me
such
a
a
number.
liar.
You said that. Give me a
Nobody
number.
said
Okay.
that the pastors are going to go in the bedroom and enforce anything.
Okay, social pressure.
Stop lying.
All your social
Just
pressure.
Stop
Hey,
lying,
listen,
dude.
listen. Where's your social pressure? How many people do you have in your ecclesiastic marriages? How many people got married into that?
Millions.
Please give me a number.
Millions of
Show
people
me a
have an
number.
ecclesiastical
Can you type
authority.
it up?
That's
Go ahead and type it up.
people have an ecclesiastical marriage. They may have a
No,
state cert also.
under your scenario.
What do you want me to type?
We don't.
How many?
We don't
you don't
know. We don't know
exactly.
exactly.
But you're sneezing at my number, but you don't know at
We
all.
know for
hey,
sure
listen, there's a lot
that
you don't
even
know.
if it was
There's
the
a
case
lot
that
don't
you
know.
never adopted the state,
But you don't have any number.
even if it's the
Can you-
case, hang on.
What's
hang
the
on,
number?
Hang on. Even if it's the case that all they ever did was get a state marriage certificate and never even followed that portion of what I'm saying, right? The number is still lower by the state's own numbers. It's still lower in
Can you
traditional
give me
churches.
a number of your marriages that you're proposing that we're all going to follow?
We don't know. We
they
don't
can
have
mitigate?
polls
You
on it
don't
yet.
have a number.
Yeah, we don't know for sure.
I would venture to say it's very little, under 100.
Sure.
Let's see if I
All
can
right,
back
so
forward
now
a
we
little
got
bit.
No, it's not under 100.
Okay,
Kinda
certainly
ridiculous.
under 100.
No, it's not.
All right. I
Well,
don't hear
people-
anybody talking about it other than you.
Yeah, well, that's because you're.
Let's see the-
It doesn't matter.
That's
Answer
a
the
yes.
question.
That's a yes. So you've been through a divorce.
Why does that matter?
All right,
What is
because-
it pertinent to the
because
debate?
this is why. Can I finish? You've been telling me I'm cutting you off. You won't let me finish.
Bro, I
At
want
this
an
point-
answer to my
See,
question.
There we go again. You can file a lawsuit for anything.
So then it's
So
not a
anybody
divorce.
can sue you for anything.
Yeah, okay.
Bro, they've been
I'm married
married
to
each
you.
other the whole time.
Not married to them, you actually fare a little bit worse if you're not legally married. That's true. If
They both have a point though.
we can survive.
And the
this.
idea is, if you're a tradesman,
It's
But
just
here
the-
too-
like it's just the fact that Greg keeps on like throwing ad
to a
hominem.
We
limited
do that
degree
here.
with tax credits, right? But the tax is simply too dangerous, and that if you want to sleep with women outside of it, perfectly fine, and it's actually liberating for you because you're moving away from the trappings of marriage itself.
And it would
That-
be safer.
Hang on.
Yeah. Number
Of
people
what?
that
Sorry,
participate-
Of
guys.
what?
I'm slowly falling asleep, and I'm not sure how many people are going to be watching this video, but
Which thing?
hope you guys like it.
keep asking you this. You never give me the
I've
number.
Very-
already
very
told you
entertaining
50
for the most
times.
part,
There's
but
no
I'm-
polling data.
Exactly. You don't have
Running
a
on-
number.
But I do have
it's
numbers.
a pie in
of
the sky. It's a
people-
fantasy. You've
Dude,
been selling people a fantasy.
do you realize that
I love it though.
it
You know,
makes
listen.
you
I,
Let's go to the closing argument.
upset by that? I take all.
is what it is.
What are
But
the
I don't.
numbers?
I don't know my numbers. My probably
I
better
know.
than hers, but I know it's better than yours.
That's true.
Right?
I've never
You
written a
got
book.
zero.
I just take the.
I mean, you
I just
come-
take the author's
You come
money.
up with obvious solutions to scenarios that
And you have
anybody
none.
can.
You just want
Anybody can come up
feminism.
with. I don't have a solution. Free agent lifestyle is a solution.
That's not a solution to
It's
anything.
not. It sure
It's
is.
just degeneracy.
It's a solution that you don't like.
It's just go fuck chicks.
No, that's what you think. All right.
Uh-huh.
It's a solution that you didn't.
How's it
even
going
read
to
the
help?
book.
How's it going to
How
help
did
with
you do-
abortion? How's it going to help with anything?
Well, that's what de-evolution is for. Read my book,
De-evolution?
De-evolution. Go ahead and pull that up. All right.
De-evolution.
I have
How
a
does
second book,
de-evolution help?
De-evolution. Go ahead and look.
How?
How about you read the book and then come back?
Just
You
tell
didn't do
me.
your research.
How does de-evolution
I
help? with
figured you
abortion?
were a better debater than this.
Can you
and be
answer
more
the question?
prepared. No, be more prepared next time because I don't have time.
You
for
can't
this,
answer
man.
any
Listen,
questions.
But I'm going to sell some books.
Just no
Free Agent
questions
Lifestyle
answered?
and De-Evolution. The link is in the description box below. All right. I did my work. I don't have to explain it. I wrote a book. Your job is to do the work. All right. And that's what we teach men to do. It's not about degeneracy. We teach men to do the work and not come up with pie in the sky
be
fantasies
feminist?
that don't work.
be
All right.
feminist?
The Captain Obvious.
do you know it
your,
doesn't work?
Your solutions are very obvious. Control propaganda. All right. Jesus Christ, man. Look, anybody can.
Here's
come
your
with that.
solution. Do whatever you want. Fuck
The
whoever.
free agent lifestyle. Yeah,
Fuck
baby.
whoever. Just fuck whoever. It's fine. We're not feminists, those guys, even though we have all feminist propositions.
I bet you your wife's body count's higher than yours.
Yeah, I bet your wife's
bet
body
your
count
wife-
was higher than yours,
No,
too.
no, I'm not married. I'm not married. And your wife, you living off of
Anymore.
her. I bet you her body count higher than yours.
You think so?
I know so.
Oh,
I
okay.
know
Just
so.
like you know your
And
numbers?
She's a traditional
Just
conservative.
like you know
I
your
know she
numbers
got
are
ran.
higher?
Bro.
I know she got ran through more times in the
Gotcha.
Holland Tunnel.
So that's it. It's just now ad
now we
hominem
just
about
ad
my
hominems.
wife.
Is that what we want to do?
That's
what is up? What is up with like when you again? Why are you attacking Andrew's wife? That's weird, man.
Where you went?
No, you
Did I
brought
say
her
a
up.
word
I didn't bring
about
up your wife.
Did I say a
I didn't
word
bring up your
about
wife.
your wife?
I don't got one.
Yeah, if you did, do you think I would have?
You brought her up.
I brought my. Did I attack her?
I didn't attack her.
You just said she had a high body count. You lying sack of shit. Show me the proof.
I don't have any proof.
Yeah,
I'm
you're
she's
just
a
making
tradition-
shit up.
Traditional conservative
You
women.
lost the
Hey,
debate,
listen,
so you went
I
ad
didn't lose the
hom.
debate.
I don't
You've
even
been
care
losing
at
the
this
debate for a
point.
long time.
Your wife has a high body count.
I bet you she does. That's the number.
What's the proof?
traditional conservative
None,
women
yeah,
have
none.
higher body
She's not a
counts than men.
She's not
Yeah.
a tradcon, dude. You don't even know what you're
How you-
talking
How's
about.
she not a tradcon and you married her?
I'm not
She
a
feminist?
tradcon. You didn't
Well,
do
what
your
are you?
homework.
What are you?
I'm a Christian ethicist.
A Christian ethicist.
Yes.
All right. Very good. All right. And
Very
you
good.
still don't know the numbers, how many people follow you.
Follow what?
Follow your prescription, your master solution. No numbers.
I literally have
But you're
given
asking
you
me about
number
numbers
after
and we pulled the
number
numbers.
after number
Oh,
of
my goodness.
the fact that the traditional
many
churches'
men-
divorces are lower.
We got that. But how many men follow your
We don't know the
prescription?
polling
We
data.
don't know.
We don't need to.
But-
we know that even if they're with the state, it's still lower.
Coach Gang, one in the chat. All right, Coach Gang, one in the chat. You bought the free agent lifestyle, and it helped you. Put a one in the chat.
All right. It's been 2 hours. You guys want to call it?
Yep.
All right, guys, check them out. That was a fun debate. We'll let ChatGPT decide who won this thing. We'll throw in the transcript in there, link it in the video. See you guys next time. And all right.
Appreciate it, man.
Yeah.
Yo, Sean Kelly didn't say squat. The only thing, he contributed was the ChatGPT, a few words there. Like, I'm glad I skipped because they were legit repeating themselves the whole thing. And again, Coach Adams, Greg Adams, sorry. I mean, he makes some good point. I mean, they both make some good points, but it's like Coach Greg kept on like assaulting Andrew, like saying, "Oh, you need to keep up. You're slow. Let me say it slower. You're not that good of a debater." Like Andrew Wilson, let's be honest, Charlie Kirk, rest in peace, and Andrew Wilson are the best debaters on the planet. Ben Shapiro, he's not. He's a good debater, as well, but I don't put him as like he's someone that I don't give him that excuse because he will debate less intelligent people than him, right? He still will never debate Nick Fuentes, Byron Gaines, Sneeko, or anyone that's a part of that. Andrew Tate, he'll never do it. He'll never do it. Same with Walsh and Michael Knowles. Even though I respect Michael Knowles, but yeah, it's just Nick Fuentes. Also, I want to see Nick debate Ben Shapiro so badly. But regardless, yeah, let me know what you guys thought of that debate. It was kind of repetitive. Kind of, I was low-key starting to fall asleep. That's why I was like, let me just fast forward. I don't want y'all to see me sleepy and stuff. So yeah, let me know what you guys think.